Dean, a week or two ago, we talked about how China was stimulating their economy. How do you think that's panned out since they did that?
For people who bought China equities and China stocks right now, it's freaking panned out really well. But as far as, well, let me take a step back.
Is China out of the hole?
No, well, okay, so what just happened in China is what we call monetary policy. Okay, so you go through the central bank and you help stimulate more lending, more liquidity through the banks through their banking system into the marketplace, right? So it's monetary policy, and it's a good shock. It's kind of unprecedented what they've done, because their economy is suffering, and the biggest problem in the slowdown over there is like coming out of COVID, they were too locked down for too long, right? And the second problem is the real estate market. The real estate market is in a hole. I mean, you hear all these ghost cities. I mean, someone had to pay for that. People borrowed money for that, right? And a lot of their general populace have like this. A lot of their savings and their wealth is in real estate, and the real estate market is tanking because they're overbuilding, right? So there's a big, what I call a structural problem if you have a huge hole in your balance sheet, right? Like, you have to make up for it. You have to pay that. Someone's going to have to eat that debt. When you get these buildings with no tenants, no people living in it, all these ghost cities everywhere, I mean, that's a problem, right? If that happened here, we would be screwed. So over there, like, what they just did is what they call monetary policy, a lot of stimulus, right? On the monetary side, it's helped a lot. It's helped the market sentiment, like, say, okay, everyone's jumping at being back into JD, Alibaba, PDD, all those famous Baidu, famous Chinese high flyer stocks. It's doing really well. I missed out because I'm really concerned fundamentally of the economic, like, structural issues that China has, right? So, they need some, whether it's going to work on the long term, I don't know. I mean, like, if you just looked in the last week or so, David Tepper, these two hedge fund giants, Druckenmiller and Tepper, right? Tepper is bullish, all in on freaking China, but Druckenmiller's like, no, as long as Xi Jinping is the president, I'm not going to touch China. So who knows? These are two heavyweights, one completely opposing views on it, right? So, from what I understand, like, there has to be some fiscal stimulus. The problem in China is you have to restructure the real estate sector, some way, shape, or form. I'm not an economist. I don't know what to do. I'm not like, something like really structurally significant has to happen in the real estate market. And right now, to make things even worse, like, China's fighting on a trade level with Europe, with us, and tariffs and blah, 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 They need to fix that problem, And the other problem with this monetary stimulus that just happened in China is, like, most of the benefit goes to state-owned enterprises. China is not a free market capitalist economy. It's not. A lot of the companies in there are state-owned enterprises. I come from a country that was famous that whenever a private enterprise gets fucked up, the government comes in and takes it over. It becomes a state-owned enterprise. So they need to promote, like, more private enterprise. I don't know how they do that. And then the other problem is, like, in China, it's all provincial, right? A lot of the real estate debt, a lot of its growth that created the property market bubble came from the provincial governments monetizing land leases. Someone needs to go help those provincial governments because they're deep in the hole. I think they're holding all that paper through the banks. And then the bigger part about China long term for many years, it needs to move from a manufacturing economy to a consumer driven economy. And right now the problem is, like, the consumers are really scared. They're not spending money. So it's all these things put together that I would think, to start off, like, you have to have some fiscal stimulus in there. What it is, I don't know. I'm not that smart. I don't know. But right now it's just monetary policy. Like I said, you got two big hedge fund heavyweights with two different opposing views. So, in my opinion, more needs to be done. Longer term fixes, restructuring needs to happen for them to recover. But like Druckenmiller said, as long as, so-and-so is in power over there, he's not confident, who knows? I don't know. But right now, I think it's just like a shot, it's like, woof, it's like a sugar high, you have to follow it up with something to keep it going, or else what happens? You're going to get a sugar low, on this stimulus. But the equities market loves it right now. People are making a lot of money. I'm not one of them, unfortunately, but they are. So.
Cool.